All right. Well, welcome back to another episode of the Zen Meathead with the Zen Meathead and me, the Cosmic Kitty. We are being joined today by a repeat guest, someone who was on the podcast about 6 months ago, Jenn DeTracy, and we're excited to have you back. Last time we talked about your intro to leadership, the leadership empire, with your husband, Nate. And this time we are going to be focusing more on demystifying wellness and physical health and some tips and tricks and ideas. And one of the things that came to mind today was, I don't know if I'd call it a quote necessarily, but Dwayne Johnson, I love some of the things that he posts. And one of the things that he said was, is today going to be a one-day day, or is today going to be day one? So are you going to approach this as one day I'm going to do this thing, or is today the first day that I'm going to make a change in my life? So welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me back.
You betcha.
Yes. It's funny, as we started to talk about what we were going to talk about today, I loved your idea of starting on a, I think, a very interesting topic right now, potentially controversial in the industry, and that is the one of Ozempic, also known as semaglutide, the magic weight loss drug, which, you know, on the surface proves to be very effective. And I was curious to see perhaps if our opinions or thoughts on this magic drug align. What are your thoughts on Ozempic?
My thoughts, when you first mentioned that to me, is I didn't want to get controversial. But then I said, you know, all diets work. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. All diets work to lose weight, but they don't all make us healthier on the inside. They don't all preserve lean muscle tissue. They don't all give us energy. Some of them have long-term health side effects that we may or may not know about. And Ozempic is one of those things that I would not recommend for someone who wants to live a healthy lifestyle. It's a fad. It will be a fad. There's many things that have come and gone, and it will be one of them.
Yep.
And to not get controversial, that's about how I feel about it.
Yeah. Well, and there's no magic bullet here. And I think that's kind of what people are hoping for. They're hoping for an easy way to bridge that gap on where they are.
That word easy. That's a hard word.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's simple, but it's not easy. And it requires a level of commitment that something like a pill or an injection doesn't give you. Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, a lot of people ask me, and I love the quote you started with, one day, or is this day one? I believe our day one was the day we were born. If someone says, I've never really dieted, or I've done every single diet under the sun, your first day was the day you got here. Mm-hmm. And everything that we've learned up until today is what we know. But a diet is just what goes in your mouth or what doesn't go in your mouth. It's not a start and a stop day. And that's the first, for people who have never done it before, or for people who haven't been successful, which means they're going on diet after diet after diet after diet. It's that mental flips, the switch that needs to flip in their mind that says, oh, my diet is what I'm doing, not the day that I start a diet and the day I get sick of it and go back to all the foods I love. Right? That's not the way it works. And if that is the way that it works for you, then the first thing you need is not the perfect plan with the perfect macros all laid out for you. That's great. I love that. I do that for people. But it's the mindset of why am I doing it, that commitment that you're talking about. And it's getting somebody to understand that they're worth it.
Yeah.
They're worth feeling amazing, looking amazing. And a lot of times people we don't know what we don't know. We don't know how to read a label. We don't know what macros are. We don't know what the right exercise is. And when you don't know, a lot of times you just kind of shy away from it because it's so foreign.
It's overwhelming.
Or you try a bunch of things, it doesn't really work. You leave it to your own devices, and then you're like, well, why should I pay someone to do something if I've already tried all these things? Because we have to put the puzzle pieces together,
Yep.
right? And so everybody, I don't care if you're your ideal weight or 100 pounds overweight, our diet, you already have a diet,
Yeah. Everybody
Right.
does.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's funny. I going through my own struggles and watching Sarah as well. We both, I would say, historically have kind of been yo-yo dieters. We'd try some new fad diet or something, or workout program or a combination, and we'd have some level of success, and then we'd go back to eating the way we were. And guess what? Whatever our set point weight had been, like I consistently used to walk around at about 235 pounds, like all the time, and it was what I would call husky. Like, it wasn't fat, but I was kind of built like a barrel, and definitely had some excess on me. But learning to, hiring that coach and getting somebody to walk you through the process, it's ironic to look back and see, and I don't want this to sound insulting, but how simple it is. Looking back now, I'm like, oh man, it's so easy. And that is the value I find in hiring, whether it's a coach, a nutritionist, or someone that can help keep you accountable, and that somebody that's been through and understands the mechanics. Because I was so resistant to tracking calories. God, I hate tracking calories so much. And I still do. I would say in my entire 45 years, I've maybe tracked 5 weeks total of my eating with any consistency, which is very, very low.
And look, you actually don't have to do that.
No.
Because now what's your weight now?
205.
And you look amazing.
Thank you.
Right? But you don't have to, it is simple. You don't have to count and track every single macro and all the calories. And a lot of times the coach, that you hire or that starts with you, they might do that for a couple of weeks just to see where your baseline is.
Yep.
But they're not going to do that the whole time either. Unless you're going to step on stage, it becomes a little bit different, right? And my husband and I have helped people with that as well. But for a healthy lifestyle, you shouldn't have to be. I had a friend once that we were on vacation and she brought her food scale with her, and I was like, "Oh, that's
you got to calm down.
We got a problem, right? We got a problem. This is unhealthy. You're bringing a food scale into a restaurant.
Yeah.
We don't need to do that. So what we also like to teach is we like to teach portion sizes.
Brilliant.
Versus counting calories,
Yep.
so that once you know what a protein is and what a carbohydrate is and what a fat is, then you can start working on how much in each meal and how many times a day. So it's portions and ratios and times per day versus, oh my gosh, let me plug this into my calculator.
30 grams of chicken is X protein.
Right. Because I know for my size that I want somewhere between 4 and 6 ounces of, a lean meat or a fish or something like that. And I just know that's about my amount.
But that through the, whether it's the portion size or the, that's what meal tracking did. I can't speak for you, but for me, while I hated it, just the practice of it got me really clear. I started to recognize, like you said, on my plate, I'm like, okay, I'm gunning for this amount of protein, fat, and carbohydrate. This is roughly what it looks like. And I'm to the point now where I don't have to think about it. It's kind of second nature because I've done the practice.
You got to practice it for long enough to get it to that point. I've got a friend that does part of my social media, and she comes on Thursdays and we film on Thursdays. And this week we did the grocery store. That was what we did this week.
Ooh.
And she was fascinated when we got done. She goes, "Is this how your cart always looks? Can we separate out the protein and the fats and the carbs in your cart?"
Yes.
And it was the bottom of my cart, the whole way along the bottom was all protein, right? And then there was fruits and vegetables on the other side. And then the top where you stick the kid at the top of the cart, right, was there was this little part, there was the fats, and then we called it the free stuff, there. And she's like, "That is fascinating." She goes, she said, "That's how you guys shop?" I said, "Yeah, that's how we shop."
You partition your cart intentionally by macros and by size and availability of the cart?
Well, no, once we got done, we separated it out because she was fascinated that there was so little fat in there. Now, I love fat. I love fats, right? And there was a small section of fats. There was some cheeses. If you're not, if you can have cheese and you're not, I don't have sensitivities to dairy. I don't have sensitivities to gluten. So there was a little bit for me, there's Dave's Killer Bread.
Yes, so love it. Yes.
Right? And
the
there,
good
I
seed.
love my avocado toast.
Hell yeah.
One of my favorite meals. And, one of the things that also, you guys, you do yoga, but you also lift, right?
Correct.
Okay. So when people say that they want to enjoy good food, I'm like, great, because we're human. We should be able to enjoy just a fun meal that's whatever we want to enjoy sometimes. So if we want to do that, I'll see if I can stump you guys. What burns more calories than anything else in your body?
Wait, what item
What
in your
burns
body?
up more calories?
Your brain, right? No.
Your brain burns up a lot of calories, yes.
I'm going to say your muscle mass, skeletal muscle mass.
Yes, your
Yes.
muscle mass.
Oh, okay.
And so if someone is, a lot of women are afraid of lifting. I'm a perfect example. I lifted for 15 years. And then when COVID happened and I didn't want to wear a mask in the gym, I became a runner and a yogi, and I started cycling and doing other things. I lost a lot of lean muscle tissue.
Yeah.
And I noticed that I would gain weight faster. Just in my own, and I teach nutrition. I'm like, oh, less lean muscle, gain weight faster.
Right. Oops. Sorry.
And so I had to go, hey, do I want to go back in and lift a little bit? Because I like my free meals.
I think that's a really interesting topic that a lot of folks struggle with realizing as well. Because when most people come to me and say, "Hey, Chris, like you've done great work. I want to lose weight too." Almost exclusively, when people tell me they want to lose weight, what they're saying is, "I want to lose body fat." Almost exclusively.
Yes.
And in my eyes, there are two things to consider right there. Losing fat is incredibly fast compared to gaining muscle, i.e., with intentional diet and training, you can lose way more fat in 6 months or a year than you can put on lean muscle.
Absolutely.
Especially the older you get.
But like you said, that lean muscle, which is harder to acquire as we get older because of the decline in hormones naturally, having additional mass, like you said, it's like just sitting there doing nothing. It takes almost nothing to maintain that muscle mass, but you burn more calories just sitting doing nothing.
So good.
Yeah,
You do.
it's a huge win.
And cardio is great too. Okay. But think about it. Cardio burns calories while you're doing it. And for about an hour or two after, as your heart rate and your body recovers. Weightlifting burns calories while you're doing it, just like cardio. And then the body has to repair itself. That burns calories for, say, 24, 48, maybe 72 hours, depending on how intense the workout was. So now you just burned way more calories than that cardio workout that you thought was burning more calories. Well, then if you're actually eating correctly and you're eating the right amount of protein and you're eating the right things as step 3, now that muscle becomes more dense, not bigger, okay, ladies, because muscle weighs more, but it takes up about a third of the space as fat does. And so it's tight and it's firm and it's toned. That's why I don't worry about gaining it. The problem is when you gain muscle and don't lose the fat.
Yes, no, exactly.
Right.
There's the problem.
Then you do look bigger.
Then
because,
you look bigger. But people are like, I look bigger if I gain muscle. I'm like, just make sure you lose the fat.
Lose the fat while you're doing it.
Lose the fat while you're doing it. Now, it is also challenging because we've taught this for a long time. People go, I want to gain muscle and lose fat. We can do that, but we really should pick one because to your point, it is more challenging. It is harder to gain muscle. And so if you're trying to lose fat and gain muscle at the same time, you'll do a little bit of both.
Yep.
Okay. But if you focus on, I want to lose fat, boom. Now, hey, I want to gain muscle so that I can stay lean. That would be the best way to do it. I would say lose some of the fat. You're weightlifting during that time, but you're not going to gain as much, right? Then we move someone to more of a program that is more of a toning
Yep.
program.
Well, like I said, most people, when they say I want to lose weight, they want to lose body fat. And I think, outside of men who want to be, giants, and I had some of that historically, people are going to be enthralled with their results if, over 3 months they lose 10, 15 pounds of fat, because you're going to look noticeably different with 10 or 15 pounds off of you. Like
Right.
10 pounds is usually the marker where people start to go like, hey, are you losing weight? Like, you seem like you're getting fit. Like, but like you said, and I try at all times to be building muscle while losing fat, and very doable, but it's
A little slower.
it requires a lot of it's very complex. If you just want to look better and feel better, losing fat, I think, is just the quick and steady route to get there.
Well, and also for those of you that are listening that maybe haven't done a lot of, you're like, oh, I don't know about working out, or I haven't done a lot of dieting, or, I try and then I quit. You guys mentioned being yo-yo dieters. The key is an 80-20 lifestyle, right? The key is an 80-20 lifestyle. I love food. My husband and I, we eat pizza.
Yep.
I mean, the only restaurants I don't like, just don't give me spicy food. I mean, I love food. I love to try different things. I love to explore, different foods, and I could eat all day long, right? But when we are at home, 80% of the time, we're doing the things that we have learned and that we know. So step one is, well, if you haven't learned and you don't know, how 80% of the time do you do the right thing? So you have to learn how to read the labels at the grocery store, how to do the right things. Once you get that down, 20% of the time, giving yourself grace to be a human and enjoy yourself is actually super healthy.
Yeah.
Right? It's a super healthy thing. And so the people that yo-yo, that's their problem is, I'm all in. I have so many people, so many clients. I'm all in. I'm so exhausted. I can't do this anymore. And then they fall off for too long.
Yep.
You have to have there's a threshold of the body gets really used to a certain weight. Like you said, yours was used to
230, 240.
230, 240. You have to shock the system to find what's called the weight loss threshold. Everybody has one. Some people, I've tried everything. I can't lose weight. No, everybody has a threshold where their body will lose weight. Then once you find it, right, and everybody has a threshold where their body will gain weight also, right? But a lot of times our body does like to get in this,
Plateau,
just like this right here. So you've got to shock the body. When we first start losing weight, we don't just lose fat. We lose water. We lose inflammation. We lose digestive bulk. We lose some other things. And so it goes faster and we get excited. We're like, oh my, because I have something that we created last year called the 5-day drop. We love it because it gives people hope and confidence in 5 days. They lose 5 or 10 pounds and they're like,
wow.
Yay, right? I just did one and I don't even have a lot to lose. And I lost almost 7 pounds in 5 days. And people are on social media, how are you losing weight? How are you losing weight? Like, but it's not all fat, guys, right? It's not all fat, but it even got my confidence up because I was feeling a little, I say like around the fluffy. I had a ledge. I'm like, oh, my pants, there's like a ledge hanging there. I'm like, oh, okay, a little puffy. So I do that, the ledge is gone, right? But after that, I know that I'm not going to lose 7 pounds in 5 days. The problem is most people, they get frustrated. I'm not losing as fast, I quit.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? And that's the part. It's the excitement and then distress and then development and then destination. I call it the 4 stages of a dream. But it's right. It's I'm excited. There's this dream and this is what I'm going to do. And I'm so excited because I'm going to achieve this dream. Distress. Crap. This is harder than I thought it was. Right. And this is where most people quit. But then there's development, which is I'm doing the things. I'm starting to see some wins. I'm consistent. And then destination. Right. And that you cannot not go through that cycle if you're going to get to the destination that sticks.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
You have to plan the trip before you can actually get there. Yeah. Well, in talking about the idea of losing fat while trying to gain muscle, and even talking about how all diets work, it's so important to know ourselves and be in touch with our bodies and understanding not only how our physical makeup works, but also how our mental makeup works. And so thinking about how easily discouraged a person can get if they don't recognize those blockers that you're talking about, that keep them from moving toward that development phase. And so if you are adding too many variables into the system, then it's easier to get discouraged. It's easier to count yourself out and say, oh, this is too hard, which I think is why it's really great to kind of focus on one piece at a time. But yeah, being aware, and we were talking about how you notice a difference when you eat certain foods during a workout. And so I'd love to hear more about that if you're really paying attention to the physical manifestation of yourself, you can catch these like little things that make a difference.
I'll give you 2 examples. We could probably think of more. One example is a guy that we help in the gym. We saw him actually 2 days ago in the gym, and I'll be honest with you. I won't say who he is because he's looked the same for 3 years. But the guy works out like he's always there. He's always working out. Hasn't really changed. And I know it's one, he doesn't have a coach, right? And we've helped him just kind of like, I'm talking like in passing at the gym, he'll ask us a couple questions, right? And so he went on a business trip I believe he went to India, comes back. He was gone for a month. And he's like, you guys, I noticed maybe not working out helps me because I got back and my muscles, everything is so much bigger and swollen. And like he's like, I have more muscle. And I said, let me ask you a question. Did you eat more carbohydrates in India? He said, yeah. I said, you're probably not eating enough carb when you're in the gym all the time.
You're not feeding yourself.
Exactly. And he had this revelation. He was trying too hard to be too strict on his diet, right? And he is a leaner guy. When I say he hasn't changed, he's not overweight. He's not this overweight guy. He's just like there, right? Right?
Always the same.
It's just there.
He's consistent.
Yeah, he's consistent. He's just there. And he's not overweight, but he wants to be built and he wants to have muscle. He wasn't eating carbohydrates. And so it took a trip to India and him being completely off diet and coming back and saying, I look good. I'm like, you ate carbs, didn't you? Right. And I'm like, it's not, I'm not talking, have pasta and bread every single day, but carbs actually play a role in his success. And he was completely eliminating them from his diet. Right. So that's one. I'll give you another example is myself. I love hot yoga. We were talking about hot yoga.
Love it.
And when I am on my 80% game and I'm doing well and I'm eating healthy foods and I'm drinking my water and I go to yoga, I sweat buckets and it feels great. And the sweat drips in my eyes and I just wipe it out and it's all good. When I have either had some alcohol or when I went to Zeke's Pizza last week and had pepperoni, olives, and mushrooms, and I think Nate and I finished off a large pizza on our own. We might have had like 2 pieces left. That meal that you're just like, I cannot eat another bite. And so, of course, I'm going to go work out the next day. And the sweat stings in my eyes. It burns my eyes.
It's so crazy.
Whatever you I know it's cliche, but you guys, you are what you eat. And that sweat coming out of me was toxic sweat.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I'll still go have pizza. Again, it doesn't mean, but I can recognize that what I put in my body didn't like it. Right? My mouth liked it and the taste and everything was so good. But those are too big. We could do some like little, you called them just like, what are these mental blockers? But you have to start to be able to recognize these little things about how you feel. It could be your ankles get swollen when you eat certain things.
Yeah.
It could be big bags underneath your eyes when you're not drinking enough water. There's little things that a lot of people just don't even really know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And so puffiness in your face,
Yeah,
or skin breaking out, getting acne. And they're like, well, let's look at what you're eating. Like,
Yeah.
I need new skincare. I'm like, let's look at your food first.
Yeah, or even your energy level during a workout. Like if
Energy level all the time, right?
Yeah, but if you're from day to day going, oh, that same program that I do, assuming that you're doing the same thing on a regular basis, like that seems so much harder. You look at what levers are different, what variables were different from day to day, and yeah, a lot of times it's nutrition.
People think it's hard, but like you said, once you looked back, it was simple, and nothing tastes better than being healthy feels.
Oh, so true.
Yeah.
And food tastes good. I love it, right? But nothing ever tastes better than that feeling of health.
I hate to be vain and douchey about it, but the last...
Are you going to Kate Moss out?
a little bit.
Okay.
Because
she had a quote that was...
What was it? Are you hot girl fit?
Oh, God, yeah.
From the movie. Yeah, well, we can come back to that. But
I missed that. I'm going to have to go look it up.
we will find this movie for it. It's a brilliant quote. Like I said, I've been a gym rat my whole life. I've always been into lifting weights, and I was always about getting huge. And I was of the old bulking mentality. You've got to eat like a horse. I had no idea what my caloric needs were. It's complex carbohydrates. It's protein. It's tons of it. Just go, go, go. Mm-hmm. So I had a lot of muscle mass on me, but I also had a very thick, even coat of chub on me at all times. And I, since I was little, have always been embarrassed to have my shirt off. 4 or 5 years ago, we kind of cracked the code, and I've consistently been able to stay in beach shape, we'll say, year round. When you can take some or all of your clothes off and be happy about it, the feeling, it's ridiculously empowering.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
absolutely.
Can I just
the
tell
confidence,
you?
Yeah.
I can't keep a shirt on him these days. And one of the funniest things, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, I swear to God.
oh no.
I have had pictures of the delivery person taking a photo of what's being delivered from like Amazon with him going out to grab it with him without
no
a shirt on. And I'm like, oh, even Mike, the UPS guy, knows that you're like feeling good about yourself.
It manifests into every area of your life.
It does.
It does.
And I see so many people that have success in other areas of their life, and this seems to be the area that plagues the most people. And I believe the reason is because of our society, our environment, and what people are around and what they have access to, is we have to be willing to learn a different way. Mm-hmm. It's so easy to stop and grab things. It's easy not to be the family that sits down to a nice home cooked meal anymore because we've got sport, and there's all the excuses.
DoorDash.
I got I can do DoorDash. That's easy. Or I'm the chauffeur and I've got kids to bring to a million sports and, all these things. We learned it was way cheap. It's actually so much cheaper.
So much cheaper.
We bring a little cooler with us. People go, oh, there you are with your little cooler, right? But I would rather do that if you're at a sporting event and you go to the concession stand and spend $20 versus
garbage
on a hot dog and some nachos.
Yes,
or chicken strips and bad fries.
Or you bring or prepare and bring some things with you. And they're like, well, how do you do that? I'm like, Costco has these awesome hard-boiled eggs now. They're already peeled for you. I'm like, put some hard-boiled eggs in there, some nuts, some fruit, some celery with peanut butter. I don't know, throw some healthy things in there. It's not hard. It's just success is inconvenient sometimes.
Yeah. And we are a convenience.
And we're a convenience-based society. So you have to go, and we could be talking business or we could be talking nutrition.
Yeah.
But success is not convenient. And a lot of times success is going to be uncomfortable. Yeah. Right. And so you're like, am I going to allow myself to be a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit inconvenienced to feel better than I ever have?
Yeah.
Right.
Am I going to suffer a little bit today to feel amazing for the rest of my life?
Yeah. And it's, you guys, you got to give it some time.
Oh gosh, right?
Right. I know I promote a 5-day drop. That's just to gain confidence and get a kickstart. That is not like, I did it. You know, it's to transition into, hey, there's a lot more here. But the grace of the free meal, I like to show one of those sponges that has the gritty side on one side to really get the dishes, and then the really soft side on the other one. Because to be successful, you have to have grace and grit.
Yep.
I love it.
Right? If you don't have grit, you're not going to be self-disciplined and you're not going to make it through. But if you have really bad cravings one night and you eat a half a gallon of ice cream, kick yourself for a second and then give yourself grace and move forward.
Yeah.
And even better is once you have a plan in place and you have intention. Like I used to always beat myself up about eating crappy food. But now when I hey, I know on this day at a time, I've given myself permission. I will go ape shit. I will eat the crappiest and in whatever volume I want. And it's that one sitting and I'm done.
Yep.
I have no shame about it. And honestly, more often
healthy.
than not,
That's so healthy to do.
we do the same thing. We'll smash a large pizza one night and almost exclusively, because I tend to be fairly low carb, I will generally get up and be lighter and look leaner the next morning
People are
after
gonna
we
hate you for
smash a
saying that.
large pizza.
Yeah. Now people are turning off the podcast. They're like, not fair.
Fuck this guy.
Well, but you know what? And your veins are popping out.
It does. You look.
Well, and I love the way that you frame it as a free meal instead of a cheat meal, because it's not cheating unless you are in that dogmatic mindset, right? And diet as dogma is never a positive. If you're using it as a resource and a reference, it's great. But as a dogmatic way of thinking that you can't do certain things, it's going to backfire.
I have to bring this up because this is a big thing right now, this body shaming thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And so you get some haters.
Oh, yeah.
I teach nutrition. I get sometimes on TikTok or these haters of like, can't believe you tell people what they can eat and what they can't eat and just let them be happy with their body. And okay, I hear you. And I want people to feel good in their skin. Like you talked about how good you felt when your shirt was off, but you didn't feel that way when you were 240 pounds.
No, I sure didn't.
Now, the body shaming people would say, well, let me teach you how to feel good at 240 pounds to take your shirt off. But you're not healthy.
I felt shit. It wasn't even just the shit.
That's the thing is guys, it's not just about
Your
the
appearance.
belly. It's not just about the belly. It's not just about this feeling good about the physical appearance. You're going to live longer. You're going to have a better quality of life if you start to learn what is healthy foods. Learning macros isn't learning how to count macros. It was funny because I had a girl reach out that wanted me to, she's like, oh, the macros that you did on that, can I just, and I started to kind of tell her what she needed. And she goes, oh, I thought it was easier than that. She goes, I didn't realize you kind of did it all for us. And I was like, yeah, we kind of did it all for you. You just need to do this. And she goes, oh, well, that's so much easier. I'm just going to do so we have a point system that we teach them. Once they figure out, once they learn their portion that's appropriate for their weight loss, then they're trying to have, say, 4 or 5 points a day in protein in their portion size. Okay. So protein is going to help make sure that we are either maintaining lean muscle mass or building more lean muscle mass. So they always need their points of protein. And we've already figured out the macros for each portion size, right? And then fats is, depending on if you're having a carb day, you could have 0 to 3 fats in a day. Or in carbs, you could have 0 to 3 carbs in a day. So you can your protein is always the same.
Yep.
But you mess around with the fats and the carbs, okay? So if you have a carbier day, you're not going to be able to have as much fat because you'll have too many points.
Yep.
So it's not
It's the
Weight
budget.
It's not Weight Watchers.
I was going to say, I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's not Weight Watchers because Weight Watchers, you get an allotment of points and you could have popcorn at night if you wanted to. We try and cut off carbs after, unless you're going and doing an intense workout at night, you should probably cut off carbs around 4 or 5 in the afternoon, unless you're having a free evening. Right. And so, learning learning those things then allows people to give themselves more freedom.
Yeah.
Because they understand. But the body shaming thing, it just drives me crazy. Just to go back on that, because it's not about just how you look. It's about what you're doing to your body on the inside.
Yeah.
And how and the longevity of your life. Oh my gosh, I have one more thing. I'm going on a tangent.
Hit it.
Let's do it.
I have been doing a lot of research on just why certain ingredients are allowed in other countries, like
Oh my goodness.
versus the United States.
Yeah.
You know, where you go, how come this is not allowed in Europe, but they allow it here?
Talking about breads, aren't you?
Bread.
Bread and
Bread's
pasta.
a big one. Pasta's a big one.
Labels.
But do you want to know why?
I actually have a.
Do you have a theory?
I have a theory.
I have a theory too.
I have a working theory. I'm trying to remember what it is.
This is gonna be
the
controversial.
additive that they put in, and specifically,
Is it fructose?
Well, fructose is in fruit. So there's fructose, glucose, sucrose. There's all the different sugars.
fortification. There we go.
Oh, yes.
The fortification that they
What
do
they
in
fortify.
flour.
Enrichment and fortification.
And it gets compounded horribly when you go and look genetically at people. Something called it's referred to as the motherfucker gene,
MTFR.
and it causes
which they check every pregnancy to see which women have it.
Which
Yep.
and so I
Here.
think we're on the same
Folate.
page. Let's go. Yes, yes.
So so yes, it's all of that, but it all boils down to we in America, we pay for our health insurance. They, and I can't believe I'm going to say this.
Do it.
They don't really care if we get sick.
No, they
No.
don't.
Because
They
where
want
do
you
they
to be
make the most
sick.
money? The hospitals,
Yeah.
the pharmacies. You know, they're going to make money. My poor friend I had lunch with yesterday, she's talking about these 8 different medications they had on. She's like, finally, I blew up so much, I just had to stop. I said, well, stay on your thyroid med, but yeah, let's walk through the other ones, because she just, every little thing that was wrong with her, here, take this.
Yeah.
Here, take this.
Oh, but
Here,
that has
take
a side
this.
effect. So take this to
but that has
counteract
a
the side effect.
Yeah, so that you don't have that side effect. Well, you go over to Europe, they pay for everybody gets equal health care. Okay. Everybody gets equal health care. They don't want you to get sick.
Yeah, it's expensive
So
for
they're going
everybody.
to be very, very cautious about what they allow in foods, much more cautious than we are here. Well, let them have that. If they get sick, we'll deal with it then.
Yep.
So there is actually, as much as we think America's, we live in the free, we get to be free. There's much more here that we need to be mindful of on labels. Labels are my big, labels, what people are, and it's not just some people go, well, if it has more than 3 ingredients, don't have it. Well, that's not necessarily true. Something can have a lot of ingredients if it's good ingredients, right?
Yeah. Arsenic is organic.
There's natural plants out there. You go take a natural plant and put it in your mouth and it might kill you.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be an expert in all these things, but just knowing that the cleaner you eat, the less processed you eat, the better you will be. That's not that hard to understand.
Closer to the source.
Right? Closer to the source. So I guess I could take back what I just said. Less ingredients, if you don't know a lot, is probably going to be better.
It's the easiest way to...
Me, who maybe knows a little bit more, I can
pick and choose.
I can go through those ingredients and go, oh, okay, well, this has 20 ingredients, but they're all good, right?
Well, and when I make my own pasta, it's 5 ingredients. And it is a whole lot. It makes me feel a lot better when I do it that way, as opposed to buying it from the grocery store. I loved what you were, I don't know if you meant to stumble onto this or not about the partitioning of your shopping cart, but it makes a huge amount of sense. If you are trying to eat a certain macro distribution across your diet, maybe it does make sense to shop with your shopping cart
And
distributed
think that way.
a certain way.
If you're going to partition your plate, why not partition your cart?
Right.
You know what? Maybe we did just stumble onto something.
Yeah.
We kind of did it at the end, but if you just said, hey, this part of my cart's for my proteins.
Yeah.
This is for my fruits and vegetables. And actually, my carbs and my fats, I only get to put in the top right here. Mm-hmm. You can't put them down below.
Yeah. And
I
have,
like this.
yeah, I think it's
Interesting.
brilliant. So,
We just cooked something up.
We did.
woohoo.
It's and I totally just brain farted. I don't know where I was going with that. Please.
Because I wanted to hit on this. We were actually just talking about, and I don't know, you don't have access to your phone because we're recording, and they're over there. But a quote from Thomas Edison, which blew my mind, about him saying in the future, and I'm paraphrasing,
20 years from now.
In the future, doctors won't be worried about medicines. They'll be worried about what we put in our bodies, our nutrition, and the nutrients that we take in. We haven't really gotten there
I'm like,
in the U.S.
I was like, are we there yet?
But even Thomas Edison saw the value in paying attention to the holistic approach as opposed to solving the problem of illness.
Well, there's so many perspectives, and there's so many, there's facts, and then there's opinion, and then there's perspective, obviously. And there's haters of nutritional supplements, of nutritional support.
There's haters of everything.
Right. There's haters of everything. I personally always believe food comes first, but I don't believe that we can get in enough of what we need, and that nutritional support is essential for filling in nutritional gaps. There are things that I will take till the day I die, every single day, and that I teach my clients to take, which is a good chelated multivitamin, multimineral. Omega-3s, I believe we get enough omega-6s, omega-9s, but those omega-3s are so good. And, even if you do eat a little bit of fish, I think adding in some extra omega-3 is good for your mind. It's good for your heart. It's good for joints, natural anti-inflammatory, so many different things. So I call it the core four.
Vitamin D.
Right. Vitamin D would be in your multivitamin, multimineral. You could take extra. So there's some personalizing that you could do on some things, like if you live in Seattle like us,
right,
and you want to add extra vitamin D,
do it.
Or if somebody has digestive things and, concerns that you're going to personalize. But the core is that multivitamin, multimineral, the omegas, a good probiotic. There's so many different strains of probiotic out there. And getting one that gets past your stomach acid down into the small and large intestines where it can actually thrive. Also, people that have a lot of bad bacteria in their body, okay? If they try and take a probiotic, but they don't get rid of the bad bacteria, the new good bacteria, the probiotic, not the, when you're sick, antibiotic, those are actually bad guys you're putting in your body. They're designed to make you better, but you don't want to take too much antibiotic throughout your life because you're putting in the bad guys to do a job, right?
Yep.
So probiotic, you want to put in all the time. Even if you feel healthy, I take it no matter what. And that is something that is going to help to replenish and repopulate and keep that microbiome healthy. But if somebody is overpopulated with too much, and also if someone like women, if they get yeast infections or you have to, those are triggered. Those are, I've got too much bad bacteria in my body. If someone has stomach issues and they're always bloated at night, there's a reason you're always bloated at night. You go like, I'm fine when I wake up in the morning, but then, okay, let's address that issue, not overlook it. And then the probiotic, and then that fourth core fork is a personalized one. It could be
vitamin C.
It could be vitamin C. It could be vitamin D. I personally, a collagen, as we age and we want our hair, our nails, our skin, our joints, and everything to feel good. I think adding in an additional collagen matrix is really important. So I love those pieces, and I think those are the core. But then when we lose weight, there are definitely medicinal herbs, and there's like you think, go look up what chromium can do and what berberine can do. Look up a seaweed called fucoxanthin. Like look up different things, and you're like, oh, well, that could help with my weight. Green tea extract. Yeah. Right? There's a lot of things. We are what we eat. There's different, put turmeric and ginger and things. Oh, I have a good one for you guys. Turmeric. Cayenne pepper. Yep. So I've always taken my ginger in a supplement. And Costco had this big thing of ginger. And I'm like, ooh, I love ginger. It's good for so many different things. It's good for my digestive system. I'm going to get... Do you know what I realized? I have no freaking idea what to do with the ginger. And this is a current problem I'm having. So if you're listening and you know how to cook some, I'm like, do I because I've had ginger tea, I've had ginger supplements, I'm taking it, but I've never actually bought ginger and turmeric. So now I've got these roots at my house of this ginger and turmeric. I'm like,
candied.
We're doing this.
Like,
Have
what
you
do I
ever
do with them? Do you know what to do with them?
dehydrated? You can candy them with.
Oh, that sounds fabulous.
Yeah.
With some gelatin?
And it's just, no, you literally, I think you just dehydrate it with a
need
little bit of
dehydrator.
sugar on the top. Our oven does it, which is super handy. So we've got a fancy schmancy GE oven that does like air frying and
Plug that oven.
dehydrating
Yeah,
and-
that sounds amazing.
right?
Shout out to GE.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. So you take the outer part of the root off. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'll see if my oven is my Miele oven is as fancy as your oven.
Right.
Miele,
I
it
would
should be.
just
Okay.
look up a recipe for candied ginger and see. And it is, you can just snack on it.
Well, if you've ever been on a cruise before, and you're feeling that little seasickness, what do? They give you the candied ginger little treats to help you with the seasickness.
Yeah. It's an, what is it? I can't remember what it's called. But,
Dramamine?
well, I know it's an anti-nausea or
antiemetic.
Yeah, there you go. So you mentioned the gut biome and the probiotics and antibiotics. Yeah, I ended up with being diagnosed recently with SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And the way that wreaks havoc, and I think it is because, and I'm just spitballing here, I was diagnosed with a heart condition when I was 19, and every time I go into the dentist, or previously before they did some extra work, I would have to take this mega dose of antibiotics every time I would go into the dentist.
Definitely could have contributed to.
Yeah, and so I ended up with what felt like candida. So like a yeast infection on my skin, was getting yeast infections pretty regularly. My stomach was a mess for like literally
and that affects
years.
weight loss.
So now it's to the point that it is interfering with my body's ability to absorb nutrients. And you just have no idea that these are the things that are affecting you if you're not paying attention and really looking at those levers and understanding how your body is supposed to work.
Yeah, and the good news is most of these things can be turned around, and instead of putting a Band-Aid on things, which that's what, a lot of the prescription medications and a lot of the things can do. There's a longer road, but a better road, which is the healing road. There's a Band-Aid road, and then there's the healing road, and it does take a little bit longer, but that's where, an inexperienced person would go, oh, well, I've got all these issues, I'm just going to put in a probiotic. But there are some other things that need to happen to get your body ready for those good probiotics. So what did your doctor have you do?
It is still in process. So the first thing is a round of 2 antibiotics for 14 days, right? So if you have thoughts.
Wait a minute, they're putting more antibiotic in?
Yeah.
Okay,
I know.
I don't know if we want to do this on the podcast, but I don't agree.
Okay. Well, let's talk.
Okay.
Because I'm very curious.
I was like, wait a minute, this is what part of what caused the problem.
Yeah, so
let's put in more.
They're 2 totally different types, like 2 different strains of the antibiotics. But yeah, I was also confused.
Okay.
So, because I was like, I don't know. No.
Okay. I think an elimination diet and a rest and a reset of your digestive system. And then there's something called a postbiotic that not a lot of people know about as well, which is the fermentation of your prebiotic and your probiotic, and then looking at how your body deals with fiber. Some people think, well, I need more fiber to poop better, right? But some people with digestive issues, like irritable bowel disease and just different things, all of a sudden extra fiber exacerbates the issue. Or different types of fibers.
Yeah, like a salad.
Cruciferous vegetables, like how do you do on cauliflower?
I love it.
But how does your mouth loves it,
right?
But how do you love it?
Definitely causes bloat.
I would think it would cause bloat and uncomfortableness, and yeah. So there's some things that you might have to take out that seem like healthy things. Right. Like my daughter has Hashimoto's, and we had to take out, broccoli and some different things that affect the the thyroid from utilizing and using iodine. Any food that uses iodine to absorb, like there's some different vegetables. And she's like, but I thought broccoli was healthy. I'm like, well, not for you though.
Right.
Right.
Which goes back to your individual, like
Yes.
how it affects you, that not every diet is right for every person, everybody.
Yes. Every diet may work to lose weight,
Yep.
but
It's not necessarily healthy.
it's not necessarily healthy for each and every person. Like there's people that do really well on keto diets, and then there's people that shouldn't do them. There's people that do really well being a vegan or vegetarian. And then there's people that literally feel like they're going to die. They start losing hair and energy. And I've seen people on keto diets that are too keto that then they start tasting toxic minerals in their, like chemicals in their mouth, and you can smell it in their breath, and that is not healthy.
Yeah. We've had a few friends who have done keto, and every once in a while.
I call that over ketoing.
Yeah. Where
There's
like, your breath smells like you just got out of a fingernail salon.
Yes.
It is wild.
What does that smell like? Ketones. That's what that is.
Acetone, yeah.
Yeah, but to me, that's your body burning itself up on that.
Yeah.
Screaming for help.
It's your body screaming for help. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I see so many folks getting because if you start, whether you're looking at most people these days, social media, you just get inundated with
I know.
so much stuff.
Garbage.
And every time, so, I've tried to research just about every friggin' fad diet out there over the years. And ironically, the group that I continually keep coming back to is usually like actors and actresses. And ironically, when these people that, like Jennifer Aniston, whoever, these Brad Pitt, 40s, 50s, 60s.
And they look amazing.
They look better than 20 and 30-year-olds. And that was where I started to see the picture. It's like, oh, these people have money. So they've got the chefs, the doctors, but most of them are eating, very simple, clean, intentional diets and following these workout protocols. There's no fad stuff. There's no, sure, there's some fad, there's some fancy drugs, but it's.
And then if they go out to dinner, they'll eat, whatever they feel
Whatever
like and
they
enjoy.
want.
But when they're at home, there's the 80. When they're at home, these chefs and the people they've hired they've got them dialed in. And they, not only that, they know what to do.
Yep.
I always tell people, if you have someone cooking everything for you and you do nothing,
That's not
that's not good either, because if you don't have them available, or you're, go to travel in Europe for a month or whatever, you have no idea what to do.
Yep.
But for the most part, I mean, Nate and I have that too. We have someone cook our food every week so that we have grab and go. And we have someone come in and, make sure that the proteins are cooked and the veggies are chopped and sliced, and I have to have my fresh pico de gallo.
Yes.
I don't buy it at the store. We chop that tomato. We have a special chopper that's like boom, boom, boom. It's quick. The cilantro and the fresh onion and the lime, and it just has to be fresh.
It's brilliant when it is.
Yep.
Oh man, if you haven't tasted it, like it's a different experience.
Like I eat avocados like they're going out of style.
Yep.
Love avocado. That's my fat.
We just saw something that we haven't tried yet, but I desperately want to. So take the hard-boiled eggs and make the deviled egg out of the insides with just whatever simple stuff you have. And then take a meatball, squish it, cook it down, and put a little bit of cheese on it. And it turns into a little egg
Cheeseburger. Yeah.
But
We're gonna
instead
try
of the
this soon.
bun, it's a little slider that is
Sounds
surrounded
so
by
good.
a deviled egg,
So delicious.
right?
Yeah.
Protein bomb.
So yeah,
Healthy
I love
fat.
it. I love and a healthy fat. So I want to teach a little bit on eggs for the moment, because a lot of people don't realize. I get this all the time, and I just feel like people should know, but they don't. Is that an egg? One whole egg is about 6-ish grams of protein. Okay, but 3 is in the white,
Yep.
and about 3 is in the yolk. Well, also in the yolk is about, and I know every egg's still about 4.5 grams of fat.
Yep.
Is in the yolk. So if, for someone my size, your size, I'd say we'd be about a medium portion size. 2 yolks for us is going to be a serving of fat. That's about 9 grams of fat, right? If I'm not trying to lose weight, I could go a little higher, and I could maybe do 3. But if I am trying to lose weight and I if I'm going to have a fat in the morning, I get to choose. I don't get to do my eggs and my avocado. I get to do egg whites and avocado as my fat. And I get a half of avocado and that's my fat. Or I can do the whole eggs with the yolks in there. The problem is people double and triple their fats. That's the same thing they do to their salads. So they're like, I'm having salad. Oh yes, but on my salad is an olive oil based dressing. Well, there's your fat. That's it. That's fine if you want an olive oil based dressing.
Cheese.
But then they put cheese and then they put nuts and then they have some avocado and then they've got the sliced egg with the yolk in it. I'm like, you have 5 different fats on your salad. You had enough fat for 4 days in one salad, but they think they're eating
But it's healthy.
Right? And so this is the learning curve that people have to go through. So when I'm like, yeah, you can have a salad. Let's learn 1 fat per salad. Right? And so hence the egg talk. And it's funny because when it becomes so normal to you, you just do it. But most people aren't surrounded around the environment of people that know these things. And so that's where I think finding an environment that can teach you these things is really, it's not just give me a meal plan, because that's what most people do. Oh, I just want the meal plan.
It's a great starting point.
Yes. But then having this is my husband and I's new company, a place to come together even just once a week to talk for 30 minutes about food.
Community.
Yeah, that community.
So key.
Yeah. Well, and you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And if you're spending time with people who are eating like crap and, sitting in line at Chick-fil-A or whatever, like that's
how
what you
in the
got.
world does Chick-fil-A have that? Like how is the line out into the street?
I'm not going to lie. I don't necessarily, there's a lot of political charge around that company and I have my thoughts on that, but there is not a chicken sandwich that touches Chick-fil-A.
I call
it's
nonsense.
so good.
But
I don't know. I tried it and I was just, because there was so much hype. And then finally we got one in Bellevue, right? That one. And I was like, the line is into the street. What
Every
is
day,
going on?
all the time.
So I was like, I have to try this. I don't know, guys. I just,
yeah.
I mean,
I'm
it's still a fast food chicken sandwich, but like I said, this one rants and raves about Popeyes, and I'm just like, that's nonsense.
I mean,
patent nonsense, but
right. I have that like once every 5 years.
Yeah,
if that.
Do you know that I have not been to McDonald's since my kids are 21 and 24, and I don't think I've been to McDonald's since my kids were like 2.
it's crazy to me.
I haven't,
because I go back like 5 years ago, like how I looked, and I like to tell people that like the shape of your body and condition of you is a reflection of your daily choices around your diet. Absolutely. And here's the deal. I ate out breakfast and lunch almost exclusively. I love fast food. I love it. But now I'm making better choices and, I have a lot less of it. But again, every once in a while, it's like, you know what? I roll through McDonald's and I love me a Big Mac. And
every once in a while, you know what mine is? And I like I said, I haven't gotten it, but my one that gets me is Arby's.
oh, dude, yeah.
Right? With the horsey sauce.
Do you like the roast beef sandwich?
The roast beef
Yeah,
sandwich.
with cheddar.
And that with cheddar.
That cheesy sauce. Oh.
Look at us. We're talking nutrition. Now look at us. We're like, this podcast just totally turned into something different. But you know what I think it shows is that we're human.
Yeah.
And everybody, but as you eat, the more fast food you eat, the more carbs you eat, the more sugar you eat, the body will crave more of it.
Yep.
And so there is a withdrawal period of time when you start, you're a healthier lifestyle, not a diet because you're already on one, right? We already established that. But when you start to eat healthier, your body will resist you because it wants that stuff.
It's addicted.
Sugar is addicting, just like alcohol is.
Very much so.
Caffeine is addicting. A lot of times I try and purge people from those things first because I'm like, it's going to hurt.
You're not going to like
but
this.
Once we get through it, you're actually fine. Always during the holidays when, we eat a lot more sugar during the holidays, we drink a lot more alcohol during the holidays. And think about that first part of kind of going back to what, in January. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Right? We were just talking about you have to really focus
on
getting yourself back because the withdrawal is real. That's a real thing.
Yeah, and we are just at the tail end of a 3-month sobriety challenge for one of our other businesses, and I will tell you, this guy was a hot mess for about 3 weeks while he was detoxing.
Yep.
And it was real intense and interesting to be a part of.
We're planning to release this realistically, but some of the high level of it was sobriety specifically. So we were both kind of caught up in the vaping game, which, by the way, just found this out. Another interesting fun factoid about that. It spikes your blood sugar.
Insulin spike.
Insulin spikes with
That's
vaping.
not good.
Boy, howdy, it's not. And we can do a whole other podcast on why insulin spikes are terrible.
I actually didn't know that.
I didn't either, and I heard it, and I was like, oh, son of a...
Makes so much sense why it was hitting that sweet spot, literally.
But yeah, so for 3 months, whatever, 0 booze, 0 vaping, 0 pot. And for me specifically, I have been diagnosed with ADD forever. I hated what the meds did to me. Eventually, I just decided I was done with those. And I didn't realize the 3 ways that I cope: caffeine, pot, and alcohol.
Sugar.
And sugar, absolutely. And
Which leads you to sugar.
Alcohol / sugar.
Well,
Right.
there you go. The insulin spike. And,
all begets itself.
and a lot of people don't understand what insulin is either.
I would... We'll have to do it again, because that's something I've just recently gotten really into, and boy, can I nerd out on
Insulin is an
that.
important thing in our body. People think insulin and they're like, oh, we don't know. You want healthy insulin, because if I eat sugar, okay, it goes into my blood vessels. And if I overcrowd the blood vessel with too much sugar, then the body goes, oh, well,
I'm in danger.
I have too much sugar in my blood. Go take that, Mr. Insulin, right? And go shuttle it to somewhere else.
AKA fat storage.
AKA fat storage. Exactly. So if you are looking at your packages at the grocery store and going, oh, awesome. This one says fat free, but it's got all that sugar and carb in there. It says fat free. But if you put it into your body and you overcrowd your blood vessels, it's going to take that out of your blood vessel, and it's going to go, oh, are you going to use it, or are we going to store it? So for people that are a lot more active, intensely active, they actually can have a lot more sugar. In fact, when I'm marathon training, you take a goo, it's straight sugar. People are like, well, why are you taking that? I need it. My body needs it. It's not going to store it as fat. It's going to use it. But over time, I call it the slight edge. There's a really good book. If you haven't read it, you got to read The Slight Edge. The little things you do, the slight edge. The little things you do every day in a positive direction will change your life forever. The little things you do every day in a negative direction. So heart disease doesn't happen overnight. Heart disease happens after 25 years of the slight edge of putting the wrong things in your coffee. Right? It's like coffee is actually really good for you. Coffee's great. It's the things.
It's the crap you put in it.
The stuff you're putting in your coffee.
Or you're buying with it already in it.
Or you're...
Starbucks.
Don't give me into that.
Frappuccino.
Yeah. The things
dessert for breakfast.
The things that they're putting in their coffee. Like, I could... Oh, my gosh. Or like, I love cookies, and they have these like Dr. Lenny's. Some people are like, well, yeah, I have this... It's a breakfast bar cookie. So because it says breakfast on the cookie, they're like, oh, well, it's a breakfast cookie. I'm like, no, it's a freaking cookie. It's still a cookie. It's still got all the sugar and all the, all the saturated fat and all the things that the other cookie had. They just threw a little extra protein in there. But it's the same, same thing with coffee. Coffee is, go research coffee. Coffee's really good for you. It's just all the things. So it's the slight edge.
I'm going to read that.
One direction. But we can do the same thing instead of being all or nothing with your dieting and your, and your weight loss. When you slight edge in the right direction,
the habit stacking.
Habit stacking.
Yeah, habit stacking. I love it.
What is that? That's from James Clear, Atomic Habits. By the way, it's not related to dieting or fitness at all.
I
but
love
it's
that book. Love that book.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So here's the thing also about habit stacking, guys. I made a program. We launched it in 2022. It was called New You in 22. And then we revamped it and it was Best Me in 23. And then I did not launch it in 24 because I noticed something very interesting that I am, and it's kind of been a 3-year program. It has that point system that I talked about, but it's a habit stacking program that is an amazing program. But what I found people doing is taking the habits and trying to do them all at once because they want things to go faster.
Right.
Yep.
And so next time I launch it, you won't be able to see
The next
habit
step.
4.
The end.
Because it was, you could see the end and you could go stack them as fast as you wanted. And people were asking questions. They were failing and because they were moving ahead so fast. They're like, well, how come I can't? I'm like, you're in habit 2 and you're already asking me questions about habit 4. Like just.
You haven't even nailed down number 1 and 2 yet.
Nailed habit 1, nail habit 2 and stop. They're like, well, but what about this? And what about that? And what about, and like,
Yeah.
slight edge. Like just
I wish
stack the habit.
more people, I realize as well, because I was absolutely that guy, hey, I'm going on vacation in 3 weeks. I love people that come up to me with that. Like, I'm going on vacation in 3 weeks. What can I do? It's like, anything I can share with you is probably going to be horrifically unhealthy and is not going to make the change you want. But
it'll flatten your stomach on your vacation.
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I think was one of the huge keys to success. If you're getting ready to make some changes in your life, make a long-term commitment. Like this thing we just are getting towards finishing. It was 3 months. I gave up 3 things that I did every day: smoking pot, vaping, and alcohol. And like Sarah said, I was a terrible person for like 3 weeks as I came off of that. But making that commitment.
What are you going to do? When this is 3 months?
Yep.
How are you going to transition?
Huge, important question.
Yeah.
Huge, important question. And
Because that is you could just
go right back to doing what I was doing.
Because your tendency is all or nothing,
Yep.
right? And so you have to plan this transition very carefully.
Yes, and I wouldn't say that I'm complete with it, but that's a great question. It has really highlighted a lot of things for me. Number one, I've done a lot of research. We all know alcohol is not great for us. I've done some deep diving on it, and holy crap, it's fucking horrible. Like we could spend hours talking about all
What it
the
does to your
different
liver
things.
and
That's the good stuff. Like, it gets so much worse. And if you're trying to lose weight, but long story short, so I'm absolutely not going back to a daily alcohol use. Like, quite frankly, my thought is 1 or 2 a week.
that's about what my
Tops.
husband and I,
Yep.
that's about, we're probably about 1 every week or 2 weeks where we'll enjoy a margarita or we're not, big wine drinkers in the house and that wine you're going to put on so much more lean muscle.
I believe it. I mean, my body transformation over the last number of years is I've like slowly cleaned up the eating, decreasing alcohol, the pot as well. One, it leads to the munchies always. I'm absolutely not going back to that as a daily thing. I think it's going to be more of like what it used to be.
Talk about your sleep.
By the way, that has been the biggest thing. I've had sleep issues my entire life. I wear an Oura ring. I track my sleep
Colicky
religiously.
baby.
Oh, yeah.
A good night's sleep for me historically, if I got
13
45 minutes of REM sleep and 12 or 15 of deep.
Yeah.
And then like once a month, I'd get this brilliant night's sleep out of the blue and I would feel like a fucking superhero. And I couldn't reproduce it. I've been on drugs with doctors. I've done sleep studies like years and years and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. In the last 3 months, now, my best night's sleep of once a month in the past is every night. Around week 3, I got that first I had a great night's sleep. I feel so amazing. Like I can think better, all this stuff. And then it happened a second night and a third night. And I knew alcohol disrupted sleep and I knew that THC also disrupted sleep. I've come off alcohol many times in my life. I had never come off of marijuana at the same time. The combination of those two, and that's why I'm certain that I'm not going back. I'm not interested in it because like the sleep, I cannot begin to quantify how profound an impact on the quality of my life getting good sleep has had. Holy shit.
Have you ever heard people say, I'll sleep when I die? Like that. I hate
God,
that.
I hate that.
It's so
hate
frustrating.
it because the quality of our life, we will live longer and we will live many more days on this earth when we sleep well because your brain waves slow down when you sleep. Your heart rate slows down when you get the good sleep. Your heart, we need our heart to get down to that, for 30, 40, 50
Keeps
beats
your
a minute.
hormones consistent.
Recovery.
It only happens
your
when you
body
sleep.
produces, girls and guys, the most testosterone
Yep.
when you sleep. It actually makes it, right? The recovery that our body goes through. So a lot of people ask me also about intermittent fasting, and there's some fascinating, research on intermittent fasting. But step one, your body fasts when you sleep.
Yeah.
Breakfast is breaking your fast.
That's literally the
All
word.
that intermittent fasting is when are you going to break your fast?
Yeah.
Right. So you can't, you should always like a 12 hour, like 8 to 8 is a really, really, there's amazing research behind just that. But, that time frame of getting into that deep sleep is the most important, because again, like look at a bodybuilder, someone wanting to build more muscle. If you're going to go lift first thing in the morning, I want you to eat.
Yeah.
I want you to eat food right when you wake up and not do, people are like, I'm doing intermittent fasting. I'm like, and I want to build muscle and get big. I'm like, it doesn't work together.
You need to understand.
Yeah,
That's the thing with these fad diets. Like,
People don't know which one's right for them.
yeah. It's based on what your goals are.
100%.
And how your body interacts with it.
And I think, with the businesses that we're growing, our target audience is predominantly folks who have little or a lot of failed experiences with dieting. And when it really comes down to it, as we discussed earlier, every diet works simply by virtue of the fact that you're suddenly paying attention to calories in, calories out.
Yep. Being more mindful.
You're being,
Intentional.
you're going to have great success with it. And as you get better at it and you build those skills, now you can start to like, well, why would I want to do intermittent fasting? Like, I have fatty liver disease. Ooh, intermittent fasting is a big deal for you. It's huge. I tend to overeat. Intermittent fasting is great for you. You can start to select things intentionally. But right now, again, we're talking about day one.
Yep.
Right now is the right day to get started, because as I'm watching many of my friends, my own age, watching my parents, get to be fairly old.
Yeah.
I'm suddenly so hyper aware of how vulnerable we are in these meat vehicles of ours. And what we put into our mouth is absolutely the most important decision you're going to make about how you feel and how long you get to have here.
Yeah. But, one of the tenets, I was talking about the fact that I am getting certified in health and life coaching. And one of the tenets of the program that we're talking about is it's not just the nutrients that we take in that is important. It's all of the things. So the knowledge, the nature, the spiritual, all of these different, the community, the social aspect, all of these different pieces feed our souls and our bodies in a certain way. And paying attention to, are you on the news? Are you watching the news all the time? Are you doom scrolling? Are you, taking in this yucky energy all the time and trying to live a healthy life? Like paying attention to the nutrients that we take into our bodies that isn't just the food.
The energy is a nutrient.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the energy is, and you will make better food choices when the energy is good.
When you're
100%.
positive.
Yeah,
Yep.
and that's what people don't understand when they're like, just give me the plan, or I'm ready to start. I'm like, are you really ready to start? Because when you're ready to start, you're right. Start today. That's the best day to start.
Yep.
But you're ready when your mindset is right, not when your calendar is right. Our calendar will never be
right.
Right. The calendar, there's
When's the
always
right
another
time?
holiday. There's
Yep.
always another function. There's always another thing.
Yeah.
But
like
when
having
But when
kids.
your mindset is right, it equates to that energy that you're talking about. How am I feeding my mind? And I will make better choices with my food, because food, we are what we eat, the food. But I'll start reaching for things that I don't want to reach for when the energy's wrong.
Yep.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. Cookies versus carrots. Because they're equally as sweet.
Yeah, I really like cookies.
I love carrots too.
I love them both.
My horses love carrots.
Somebody's got to eat those carrots.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, this is wonderful. The problem with sitting down and talking with you is
How do we stop?
we get on another subject. I'm like, ooh, like insulin. Like we could sit and talk about that. I've just recently been deep diving that and could nerd out on that forever. If we don't have other things we want to cover, I would love to end. Do we have other things we want to cover?
I'm good.
I'd love you. We talked a little bit about it, and I'd love to I've got an idea of an example in my mind. We were talking about understanding how to read labels. Folks, if you do not follow Jenn on social media, we'll make sure to tag her. She does great little shorts and I've learned so much from your label stuff. So I want to just take an example out of the store. So most people tend to think of yogurt as a healthy food. I want to eat healthier. I'm going to eat more yogurt. And as I think we're probably all aware, if you walk into any local grocery store, all the yogurts you are going to find are not created equal.
Oh, there's so many different ones.
So yes. Can we start to talk about looking at a Yoplait,
a healthy
fruit on the bottom, or a Greek yogurt? Could you give some examples and what people might want to look for on those labels that might be concerning?
Well, yogurt's a good one. First of all, if you think you're getting your probiotic from your yogurt, think again. The environment that the probiotic sits in is very important, and most of that probiotic, they may put probiotic in, but it's going to be dead by the time that it gets to where it needs to go. Get your probiotic somewhere else besides your yogurt. Actually, kefir really actually does have some pretty good probiotic. However, what I would say about yogurt is look for. It's really hard to get away from all sugar in yogurt. Okay, so you're not going to find one that's got no sugar, but look for less than 10% added sugar. So when you look at that label per serving, you'll see the sugar on there. Look for less than 10% added sugar. There's a difference between sugar in a product. The natural sugars that are in something are just listed as sugar. Those are much better than an added
Then there's
sugar.
the down below.
Right. And this is new. Ingredient labels didn't always have to be listed this way. This is a couple years new in the US that they actually have to put a line for added sugar. That should be less than 10%. And then Greek yogurt, getting up the protein content, right? And trying to get over 15 grams per cup of yogurt is going to be really good. So you're like less than 10% added sugar, more than 15 grams of, and then if you're worried about fats, a lot of yogurts can be high in fat. If you're obviously sensitive to dairy, be careful getting dairy yogurt. But a Greek yogurt is very, very low in lactose. And most people that are sensitive to dairy are sensitive to the lactose. Okay. There's different parts of milk. There's the whey and the casein, which comprise the proteins in milk, and then the lactose is the milk sugars, right? And most people are sensitive to the milk sugars. Greek yogurt happens to have very low lactose in it. So a lot of people, I can't have dairy. Like, let's try a little bit, right? And they're like, I can do this, right? Because it's very, very low to no lactose in there. But there are also, goat's milk and there's different types of animals. You don't have to have cow, as far as that goes. But that's what I would say about yogurt. And then same thing I said about coffee. It's what's in it that's added. That's the bad part. That's the part that you mostly is going to mess up your yogurt. So if you're doing Yoplait and it's like the added fruit on the bottom, that's not real
jam.
fruit.
Not fruit.
That's jam. Yeah, exactly. That's
High fructose laden jam.
Yes, exactly. And so put your own fresh fruit on your yogurt.
Yeah, make your own compote.
Put your own agave on the top of your yogurt. If you want a couple, get some grape nuts, and if you want a little crunch in your yogurt, or some raw cashews, and crush them up. And if you want that crunch, put them in there. But don't buy yogurt that already has the stuff. In it. You put your own
flips.
Yep. Put your own. Yeah. Put your own stuff in your yogurt, and then look for those two things, and you'll be doing really good.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much as always, Jenn. It's a delight and educational. I would love to see folks checking out your channel, as well as I'd love to start to do some small stuff with you as well, because I've been learning so much. It'd be fun to sit there and hey, here's a food I'm not really sure about. Let's
explore.
Let's go to the grocery store and check it out.
Yeah.
So,
I love it. Well, thank you so much again for having me, you guys. Anytime. It's a pleasure.
I love it. All right. Make sure you like and subscribe on our YouTube channel and all of our different platforms, and stay elevated, folks.